Hello, everyone. I am going to be answering some live questions. I have 4 different DMs that people have sent me that I'm going to be responding to today. Had to do some research, had to take some time so I could get back to them. So, I'm thinking about doing this regularly because I get several DMs and taking the time to respond to them can be time consuming, but some of the different people might have the same question. So it might be more effective for me to just do a live video every other week. That's what I'm thinking of doing, every other week. This is my first YouTube live, by the way, so I'm kind of nervous. We'll see. The only thing is, I wish I knew how to share. Oh, there's. Now, I've copied the link to the clipboard. Now, can I escape from this without losing the live? Probably not. So, we shall see what happens if I do this. Okay, and I'm back. Wow. Okay, I tried to send the link to my Instagram. So I had to email myself some things. So let me get those pulled up while I wait for some people to come on. So I would like anyone to let me know how they are feeling about the every other week doing a live Q&A. Okay, so I got the first question pulled up and I have my research pulled up. So my first question was from Island Mommy. She says, hey, can I please ask you something? So I was working for a 3D, 4D place for 12 months and my school wasn't accredited either. So I have to work for 12 months or take the ARRT. I asked my job for a letter for employer verification. The physician is not ARDMS certified and he lives in Venezuela. And then the lady who trained me in ARDMS is abdomen. So when I asked her if she could write me a letter, she told me she only has her abdomen. She doesn't have her OB, so she can't give me that letter either. So now it's looking like I wasted my time and I have to take the ARRT. So I was wondering if you knew if she could still write me the letter even though she's abdomen. Doesn't matter what she's registered in. Okay, disclaimer. My knowledge of the ARRT, this much. I know very little about the ARRT. I can barely even say it. So I'm just rereading this. Okay. So I did a lot of research. This took me a lot of time. Searching on the ARDMS website. And my answer, as far as if that person that you're working with who is registered in abdomen, whether she could still write you the letter for taking an OBGYN test, from what I've researched, that would be, unfortunately, no. She would need to be specialized in abdomen, or excuse me, OB, to sign you off for an OB exam. So I found the ARDMS abdomen clinical verification form, the CV form. I'm going to DM you this link and how to get to it. So it says that the clinical personnel that you're working with is, it says that she is, I have the minimal core skills as listed on this clinical verification form for the abdomen specialty. And there it is. I blank sponsoring sonographer or reporting physician certify that the applicant name has been successfully demonstrating the minimum core clinical skills necessary to apply to the acceptance to the ARDMS abdomen specialty exam. So it says specifically the abdomen, and then yes, so on multiple locations on this it says abdomen specialty, that this person has to be specialized in abdomen. However, I would recommend that you, since I don't know much about the ART, I can't recommend much for that. If you want to be registered by the ARDMS, I would recommend still using that person that you're working with, still using that time that you have built the relationship with her, and instead of going for the ART, you can still do that. That's a pathway. But just consider, since she is registered in abdomen, use her to get registered in abdomen instead of going the OBGYN route. Thankfully, you're getting the experience in OBGYN. But once you're registered in abdomen, that can open up many more doors. And you can always get it registered in OB later. But once you're registered in abdomen, you can apply for more jobs. You can work at a hospital. You don't have to stay at that job that you have currently. And while you have that other job, you might be getting more pay, and you can still apply to become registered in OBGYN. So that's just my recommendation. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind to DM you the exact way to get to that information. And let's go to the second DM that I have. Let's see, which one should we do next? Okay, let's do an easier one. This is from Sandy. Currently shopping for a sonography school and don't want to go overboard. What essentials and supplies do you recommend? Also, what apps to download for iPad to help benefit too? Okay, so generally speaking, I don't feel like you need a whole lot of items when you're going into a sonography program, because a lot of things are online or paper. You just really need some basic things. You don't need anything too fancy. However, one thing that I used was a tape recorder. If you are an auditory learner, or you just are short on time and you want to be refreshing in your mind the things that you are learning in class, a tape recorder could be helpful. But also, we have phones nowadays that are easier to record with, so you could just use your phone too. I didn't think about that. So that's just something you could do in class when your instructors are lecturing and you don't want to miss something that they are saying. You can just record them. And if you're having to drive long distance, or even if you're working out or going walking, you can play that recording and have that information going in your mind. You can be studying passively. Another thing you might need, if you don't already have one, many people have these, is a flash drive. Also, you could, since you mentioned that you have an iPad, if you don't already, you might want a keyboard to go with that iPad if you don't have a separate laptop or desktop computer, because you do have to do some paper writing. You do have to do things like that in the sonography program. So the other thing, if you do have the iPad, I would recommend getting a stylus to go with that. If you're if you do well with like drawing or visual aids, then having that stylus will help you to kind of transform what you're learning through text into pictures. So that's for as far as classes go. I have 3 different categories here that I've written notes on. So the other thing would be for clinicals. Once you start clinicals, now this is when you really might need a few things. I highly recommend buying some good shoes, some good supportive shoes, good arch support. I mean, I have flat feet, so I'm always like concerned about arch support. You definitely need some good shoes because in clinicals you can be on your feet a lot. And you would want to carry with you always a notepad and some pens. So in conjunction with that, if you buy scrubs, you want to have a good amount of pockets, some spacious pockets in your scrubs. I love scrubs with a bunch of pockets. It's they just hit different. There's something about them. Just multifunctional. I love pockets. So, yeah. So you might have to like write down cases, the cases that you see, because you might have to put them in a log later if you have questions for the sonographer you're working with and you want to ask them later, or they're giving you some good instruction. You want to write everything down. Also for clinicals, if you're cold natured like me, you'll want some long sleeves shirts to go under your scrubs, because hospitals, doctors' offices are cold. So I wore this under my scrubs to work today. Last thing I would recommend. I am like such a compression socks geek. I always recommend compression socks. I have them on right now. Want to see? Yep, I got my compression socks on. So because you're on your feet a lot, I read some scholarly articles today actually about the use of compression socks if you're standing or sitting for prolonged periods of time. So that's it for classes and clinicals, what I would recommend that you buy. For your iPad, as far as the notes that you asked about, I would recommend getting some some apps that help get you organized. Some good options that I have either seen or heard about are Notion. I've seen a video with someone using it. It looked really cool. That is one of the highest recommended apps for iPad if you don't already have that. And then Todoist. I have used Todoist. That's a good one for keeping your tasks organized, and I love to click a box and like see the line go through the item, so I can get that sense of accomplishment. GoodNotes, I've used that. That's a good one as well. You might want Quizlet and also Trello. I just started using that this week with business partners, so it's really cool. I just started using it, so I haven't experienced all of it, but I like that it will organize your tasks into categories, like different themes. So you can separate like your classes and still do checklists within each category. My neighbor is on my last. I don't know if you can hear her stumping. So Calm down, Drew. Yeah, so and Trello is kind of like aesthetically pleasing as well. Let's go to our next question. This is our third question. Let's see. This one was a tricky one. Hey there, I hope you're well. I hope you don't mind me reaching out with my question, but I've completed all my prerequisites to apply for the DMS program. However, I've heard horror stories of the toll it takes on your body. I have back issues already, slight arthritis, scoliosis, and fibromyalgia. Upside down smiley face. So I don't want to go into a field that will cause me more damage. Completely understandable. If you don't mind me asking, what is your experience as far as injuries, aches, or pains? I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks in advance. Thank you, girly. So my experience as far as injuries, aches, and pains from sonography. It is not a myth, it is not a legend, it is real, it is fact. I have experienced this. Even in my first year, unfortunately, working in sonography. Now, back then, I had even more anxiety and I was just stressed about like making sure I was quicker and getting my speed up and getting the exam right. And I wasn't as focused on myself, what will help my body feel better. So if my mindset had been different, I might not have experienced so many issues if I hadn't been in such a rush. And so my first year, it was my shoulder was giving me a little bit of problems, and then I have had problems with I have had an actual injury, damage to some cartilage that has even that was in maybe year 2 or 3 that I had to get repaired, and my shoulder has not been good. But I do feel like my joints are not the best to begin with. Some people have zero problem. I've heard of some people having zero problem scanning, and as far as having no injuries and no work-related musculoskeletal disorders. That's the acronym. But I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep it real on this channel. I have had some issues, and it's real. It's real, unfortunately. I am getting a lot better. I'm getting so much better. I have not had as frequent issues, in like when I notice that I'm having a little bit of pain, I'm able to stop, adjust a lot quicker. But I'm not gonna lie to you, it is an intense field. So as far as my recommendation for you, think long and hard about it. If you're already dealing with so many chronic issues, so much inflammation, it is likely that this field will cause you some more damage. It is likely. I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but it is very likely. 75% of people end up with injuries. 9 out of 10 sonographers scan in pain. Now, can we do things to adjust that, approach that differently? We can. We can do different stretches. We can take breaks. Taking breaks really helps. But since you have already taken these prerequisites for the DMS program, I would not, if you decide, okay, you know what, I don't think I can do this, here's what I recommend. Use those prerequisites as best you can for another degree. Here's some options that I've researched. that you probably have come across before. You could become a medical transcriptionist. Um, you could become a health educator. You could become a medical researcher, um, a dietitian or nutritionist. You could work in healthcare administration. And also, some people, I'm not sure about as far as if you want to do more hands on, I'm not sure about how many repetitive motions or injuries that phlebotomists encountered. Possibly consider that. Just do some research on that and their musculoskeletal disorder rates. So now let's go to my last question. So this one was a tricky one as well. So this is Diani. I'm about to get in, she says, "Hi, I'm about to get into a sonography program. I'd like to take echo sonography, but they only have a certification for that program. A certification, not degree. And they also have an associate's vascular and associate's diagnostic medical sonography. And I can't make up my mind. In your experience, what is the best? Which is the best? It's worth it taking an echo program, which is not an associate's degree. Let's suppose I take and finish vascular. What's the next step if I want to take echo? Do I need to take it from the beginning?" Sorry, I'm like correcting as I read. "I'll appreciate any help. I'm a little lost. Thanks in advance." Okay, so this will be a long response, so it's best to do it on video then. DM. Things to consider. Is this echo certification accredited? Is that portion of the program itself accredited? And that will affect how soon you can take your registry. Because if you graduate from a certification program, you might have to wait for a year if it's not accredited to sit for your registry. If you're not registered, it can be more difficult to find a job. So that's why I asked that. So definitely find out if it's accredited, and after you complete the program, how soon could you take your registry? So you have to factor in your possibilities of getting a job. Next, do you already have a degree in allied health? So you probably do if you're able to get into this program, but I believe from the research that I did, if you're trying to get into a certification program, you already have to have a degree in allied health before you begin that certification program. So some good little facts about certification programs. The course schedules are often part-time or flexible so that the students can maintain their existing employment. That's good to know. So, after reading your whole message, my recommendation is, especially if the program is accredited, if all aspects of the program are accredited, my recommendation would be to, if you said you really want to do echo, I would recommend getting your vascular associate's degree first. Now, you can examine all your options, write your pros and your cons. Always do that. That's what I always recommend for any decision. So you don't have to take my word for it. This is just my personal thoughts. I would take the vascular degree program first, then If it's accredited, you can get registered right after that. And then you will be more marketable and able to get a job sooner. So I would get a job after graduating from that. And then if you still really want to do echo, start that certification program, and hopefully, likely they'll have some flexible hours for you so that you can work and go to school, get that extra education in doing what you ultimately want to do. And by the time you finish with that echo certification program, you'll be more marketable as an echo vascular tech. Those are in high demand. High demand. Every time I go on like travel sonography sites or just sonography jobs in general, echovascular. That's what they want. In general, echo itself, it is in high demand, but I'm not sure how easy it is to get a job because I'm not registered in echo. I'm not sure how easy it is to get a job if you have a certification level diploma. I think that's the word. So that is it for all of my DM questions. I hope that these provided some value for you guys, and I think I'm going to do this regularly. So whenever I get DMs every other week, try to answer them on live so that more people can have access to those answers and get more detailed answers so that it's easier to hear me talk it out versus type it out paragraph after paragraph. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Oh, I got somebody here and I can't even see their name. Well, hello person, thank you for joining. Goodbye.